The fire has burned down to embers. You're lying on hard ground, wrapped in animal skin, somewhere on the edge of an open grassland 100,000 years ago. The light is almost gone now, and in that fading orange glow, you hear it, a crack of a branch somewhere in the dark. Your eyes snap open. Your heart begins to pound. You don't move. You barely breathe. You just listen. That feeling, that sudden alertness when the lights go out, that quiet dread that something is watching. It didn't disappear when humans invented the light bulb. It lives inside you right now. And tonight, when you lie in bed and your mind suddenly fills with worry, your brain is running a program written long before you were born. Let's go back and see why the dark still has so much power over you. And along the way, there's one strange question we'll answer. Why the safest time in human history is also the time so many people feel most afraid. Picture the world your ancestors lived in. There were no streetlights, no glowing screens, no switch on the wall. When the sun went down, the world didn't just get dim, it went black. A darkness so complete that you couldn't see your own hand in front of your face. And that darkness was not empty. In that world, the night belonged to other creatures. Big cats with eyes built for hunting in the dark. Animals that could see you long before you could see them. For early humans, nighttime was the most dangerous stretch of the day. You couldn't run from what you couldn't see. You couldn't fight what you couldn't find. So humans did the only sensible thing. They gathered. They built fire. They stayed close together, shoulder to shoulder, inside a small ring of light. The fire wasn't just for warmth or cooking. It was a wall against the dark. It pushed the shadows back and gave the eyes something to hold on to. And they didn't all sleep at once. Research suggests that in many early groups, someone was usually awake. People slept in shifts, or woke in the middle of the night and sat by the fire for a while before drifting off again. There was almost always a pair of eyes scanning the edge of the firelight, listening, watching, ready. Because in that world, the difference between waking up and never waking up could come down to a single sound in the night that nobody noticed. Now think about what that does to a brain, generation after generation, for tens of thousands of years. The humans who relaxed completely in the dark, who slept deeply and ignored strange sounds, were more likely to be caught. They were less likely to survive and pass on their way of being. But the ones who stayed a little alert, a little nervous, a little quick to wake at a snapping twig, they lived. They had children, and those children inherited that same jumpy, watchful nervous system. So your brain learned a simple rule. Darkness means danger. Quiet means something might be hiding. And when the eyes go blind in the night, the rest of the mind has to work harder to keep you safe. This is why your senses sharpen in the dark instead of switching off. You hear every creak in the house. Your imagination fills the empty spaces with threats. That isn't weakness. That's an ancient guard standing watch, doing the job it was built for. Your body has a kind of inner alarm system. When it senses possible danger, it floods you with alertness. Your heart speeds up, your muscles tense, your thoughts race, trying to find the threat and solve it. In the daylight, surrounded by people and tasks, that alarm mostly stays quiet. But at night, alone, in the dark and the silence, there's nothing to distract it, so it turns inward. And here's the strange part. The threat your ancient brain was watching for was usually outside. A predator, a rival, a sound in the grass. But the modern world rarely gives your brain a real animal to fear. So that same alarm grabs whatever it can find. Your worries, your regrets, the conversation that went wrong, the bill you haven't paid, the fear of what tomorrow might bring. The guard is still standing watch. It just can't tell the difference between a lion in the dark and a problem in your mind. Think about how this shows up in your life right now. You lie down exhausted, ready to sleep, and the moment the light goes off and the room falls quiet, your mind comes alive. Suddenly you're replaying old memories, imagining future disasters, listing everything that could go wrong. Your brain is reacting as if the silence itself is a warning sign, even though you're safe in a locked room with a roof over your head. Or you wake up at 3 a.m, heart racing, certain that something is wrong, even when nothing is. That's the old night shift waking, the part of you that was meant to check the fire and scan the dark. Except now there's no fire to tend, so it just feeds you fear instead. Maybe you've noticed that small worries feel enormous at night and then almost laughable in the morning. That's because in the dark, your threat detector turns the volume all the way up. Your brain is treating a mild problem as if your survival depends on solving it right now, even though it could easily wait until sunrise. And maybe you sleep with a light on, or a sound playing, or a screen glowing beside you. Most people think that's just a habit, but it's the same instinct that made your ancestors build fires. You're recreating that little ring of light and sound that says, the dark is held back, you can rest now. Even the fear of being alone at night taps into this. For most of human history, being alone in the dark meant being unprotected. There was no group, no fire, no second pair of eyes. So a part of you still feels that being alone after dark is somehow dangerous, even when you're perfectly safe. Your brain is reacting as if you've been left behind by the tribe, even though you simply live by yourself in a quiet home. So what do you do with a brain that's still guarding you against threats that mostly don't exist anymore? The first thing is simply to understand what's happening. When the panic rises in the dark, you can quietly name it. This is my old alarm, not a real emergency. That single thought changes things. You stop fighting the fear and start recognizing it. You're not broken. You're being protected by a system that's a little too good at its job. You can also give that ancient part of you what it's actually asking for. It wants light, warmth, and the sense of not being alone. So, a soft lamp, a familiar sound, the feeling of being wrapped up and held by your blankets, these aren't childish comforts. They're signals your nervous system has understood for 100,000 years. They tell the guard, the fire is lit, you can lower your watch. When your mind races at night, try not to wrestle it into silence. Instead, let it know you've heard it. Keep a notepad by the bed and write the worry down. You're telling your brain, I've noted the threat, it's handled, you can stand down. Often that's all the guard wanted, proof that someone was paying attention. And remember the old rhythm. Your ancestors didn't expect a single, perfect block of sleep. Waking in the night was normal, not a failure. So if you wake and can't drift back, don't panic about being awake. That panic is the real thief of rest, not the waking itself. Here's the thing to hold on to, tonight and every night. The fear you feel in the dark is not a flaw in you. It's a gift handed down through countless generations who survived the night so that you could exist. Every time your heart races at a sound in the dark, you're feeling the same pulse that kept your ancestors alive by the dying fire. The world has changed. The lions are gone. The dark is no longer hunting you, but the love your ancestors had for life, the fierce will to make it to morning, that's still beating inside your chest. So the next time the dark makes you afraid, don't be ashamed of it. Just understand it. Thank the old guard for its watch and let yourself rest, knowing the night you fear is the same night your bloodline conquered, over and over. all the way down to you. There are other ancient programs still running in you, other fears